All right, good day to everybody. This is Thursday, March 10th, and it is Friday. Not that that means a lot these days, right? However, this is Rob Mazak. I am a psychic medium, but today I'm going to kind of stray off the path of metaphysical topics and talk about something that's come up in the news a lot recently, and that is in reference to the banning of TikTok. The TikTok app, with all the short videos, I'm sure everybody knows about it. And it can be very entertaining. I can definitely find myself sitting on that app a little too long at times, because it gives us just enough attention, a few minutes at a time, and so we don't get bored, and so we have a lot of different topics we can look at. And there's a lot of good things that are shared on there, and the algorithms, I believe, are not set up the same as they are in apps such as Facebook and Instagram and other things, where somebody keeps an eye on it and makes sure that we're not going too far right or too far left, which is kind of defeats the purpose of our freedom of speech, which I'm sure we all are aware that that's becoming a lot less than it used to be. They're really kind of beating us up on that. However, I wanted to kind of put out a theory. I saw somebody else talk about this, and so it's not necessarily my theory, but it makes a lot of sense. That I think the reason the United States government is so interested in banning this app from the use in the United States, at least initially with the government platforms, cell phones, computer systems, and the like, is because they're saying that it is because of national security, that this app TikTok that is owned by the Chinese government, is collecting data on our citizens and our secrets and all these things. And that may be happening. I'm not saying it's not. However, somebody brought forth an idea or showed some videos where they were talking about it in Congress, I believe. And it really lends to the idea that they're not so much worried about secrecy, but the fact that our government cannot control the algorithms and the content of this app. And so, I think in a lot of ways the United States government doesn't necessarily like competition. Sorry, had to say it. Now, I'm not saying that's true. I'm just kind of looking at it from my side of the mic here, right? And, of course, everything I'm talking about is my opinion, and I can't tout it as fact because, I can only pull up information that I find and kind of share it with you and kind of collaborate or correlate with you what might be going on. And so, I do love TikTok. It's kind of fun. And I've even started putting videos on there for my business. But it apparently is something that may be going away. Anyway, and so for one of my graduate classes last semester, I believe it was, I had to do a case study on Facebook. And I can tell you guys that, I don't care what social media app you are using. A lot of your data is being mined, and I don't think there's any secrecy or any privacy whatsoever. Now, you can, in Facebook, for example, you can drill down and find ways to kind of turn off some of those things that they're collecting. But when I tried to do it, it is very laborious and very complicated and hard to find. So a lot of people don't do it. And a lot of people just are simply not aware of it. And so we're just simply putting stuff on Facebook, and it's just basically all that content belongs to somebody else. And so there is a lot of interesting information that something like Facebook, for example, was actually something that was funded by a governmental agency that was trying to produce something, some kind of system, I forget the name of it, similar to what Facebook is doing now, to be able to collect and monitor activities and content and conversations and everything that you can imagine on the, at least the United States citizens. I don't know if it was worldwide, but now with the advent of Facebook, it can be done worldwide. And so apparently this system was being canceled or postponed or turned off or whatever. And so this Facebook idea was coming along, and they apparently jumped on the bandwagon and funded it. And I mean, this is the NSA's, GSA, all the three-letter agencies. Sorry, I don't remember them all. CIA, all those, right? This is the dream collection machine, if you look at it, right? And so I'm gonna kind of ping through some items. I've just barely scratched the surface with this paper I wrote. I mean, if you go do your research, you will be utterly amazed at what they actually collect on us, right? And so one of the things that I found, quote unquote, was that Facebook has the potential to build 5,000 plus data points on 230 million U.S. adults. Okay, so let's go back to that. 5,000 data points, 5,000 individual bits of information about you and what you're putting on Facebook, and what you're doing with it, how you're shopping, what kind of content you're putting on there, right? All that kind of stuff. And they do some good things with it, obviously, right? But they do use some of that data, obviously, to create advertising, and they do need to create some kind of income out of it, sure, because it doesn't cost us anything to use Facebook, so they got to make their money somewhere, obviously. So point taken that advertising makes sense, and I can tell you for sure that all I got to do is go on my computer, even outside of Facebook, and simply put some kind of item in there I'm looking for, a motorcycle seat cover or something. And all of a sudden, my Facebook is crammed and jammed with all kind of advertisements about motorcycle seat covers. That's simply me just doing a search in one of my, search engines. I use Edge, Chrome, sometimes Firefox. And so it really, Facebook and TikTok and all those social media apps really are becoming the integration of the Internet of Things, which means that everything is accessible to all those in power, if you will, governments that want to see it and want to know about you. And so I guess I understand that in some ways, because if we're trying to manage national security, we do need to be aware of things that are happening and looking at algorithms and patterns and things. I get that. But, it's interesting when somebody puts up a quote-unquote conspiracy theory or an idea that makes sense, it gets downgraded and blocked and not shared. The algorithms will turn it down, but you can post all about sexual things. That's okay. But, doggone it, if you're going to bring up something about 9/11 or something that didn't make sense from the mainstream news. But anyway, I'll digress on that. But so the thing about Facebook, at least, is that even if a website simply has the Facebook logo on it. This gives Facebook the authority, the privileges to collect data on that page without somebody ever logging into Facebook. So, as a business, you might be careful about putting that on your website if you're worried about that. I don't think there's any escaping people, but there's things you can do. Definitely things you can do to kind of minimize that, right? And so, let's see. So you can change the privacy settings on Facebook, but it is kind of laborious and or very, very hard to do, if you ask me. I mean, putting the effort into it, I guess, if you're worried about it, makes sense, right? But there's a lot of different things that are interlaced with Facebook. We have things like Alexa, the Echo, Messenger, Apple, Meta, right? Or Meta Payments, WhatsApp, Novi Financial. Let's see, Meta Platforms out of Ireland, go figure. Instagram and a lot of other apps, right? Those are just a few of them. I mean, there's way too many to list, and we'll be here for a while. So, Facebook also appears to be of great assistance to investigative organizations because the amount of collection that they can gather is enormous. For example, the content of your cameras on your devices, your location data, types of things you're viewing, products that you purchase, device tracking, activities that are happening on your device outside of Facebook, and your network connection data. In other words, your IP address. Where is it? Your IP address is unique to your machines, and so they know it belongs to you. And so let me tell you guys, they know exactly where we are, what we're doing, what we're saying, and based on my experience back in the active duty military, learning that it doesn't matter whether your machines are on or off, they can still access that stuff. So I can't claim that's true, but I guess it makes sense, right? And so let's see. So obviously they use this stuff for profit, right? But it also is an assistant device or collection of data to help law enforcement agencies too, as well, right? And so I have heard a lot of people say that when they've gotten stopped by the police for speeding or whatever, that the first thing they ask them for is their phone. They want to see their phone. So I'm not sure if this connected, but I guess that would make sense. But guys, let me tell you, they go down to very precise types of information. They can actually collect your social security numbers, go figure, your driver's license information, passport information, and exactly where you're at. Everything that you post, they know about it. They know exactly who it is, where it is, and how often you post that stuff. And so it is kind of scary in a lot of ways. But let's see. So basically, I did some research, and from 2021, obviously a couple years ago, there are over 200 million businesses on the Facebook platform. So if you think they don't know what you're doing, I think you're very disillusioned, right? And so the real vision of Facebook, from Mark Zuckerberg, right, quote unquote, Zuckerberg makes it clear that he's still intensely focused on connecting the entire world on Facebook. I mean, how many times have we gone to a website and the options for logins almost always include logging in with Facebook? I just went on a website the other day for something, and I had that option. I think it was a city website, actually, right? That's crazy, right? And so also in 2021, there were reportedly 1.9, almost 2 billion daily users, and over 100 billion with a B, daily messages. You know, I guess you have to have algorithms and things in place if you want to monitor that. So I can't imagine what it would be like to do that oversight. But I believe it's there. I mean, the evidence seems clear to me. However, it definitely has become so large. Facebook has become so large with lots of connections to businesses, to law enforcement, to government agencies, individuals, you know, that oversight and control is likely to be very impossible. So who is overseeing the overseers? I imagine there's a lot of things happening there that are very big concern, right? And so let's see. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed just with a little bit of information that I found. There was no way I could put all the things I found in my paper. And if you go do your research, just go over to if you go to facebook.com/privacy/policy, you will find an enormous amount of things they collect. But one interesting thing I found was pretty on the good side, actually, is that they do use this data to track and hopefully prevent suicides. And that's a pretty cool idea, I guess. You know, so there's a lot of good that can come out of this. But at the same time, just remember, people, we're being super monitored. Super monitored. I think that's not a surprise to anybody. But back to the original point of discussion here today is that I think the reason that TikTok is a concern, once again, for the powers that be is that the algorithms and all the data that's being collected, it doesn't belong to anybody except the Chinese country of China, rather. I assume that the government is interested in the kinds of things we're sharing and the kinds of things we're saying. Our location data, our precise shopping, let's see, patterns. And so I guess the government does have a very good point there, that we are sharing, at least United States citizens are sharing things outside of the purview of things that can be monitored by the United States in order to help with national security. So I guess in some light, it does make sense. But at the same time, it's almost like they don't like the idea of competition. Now, I don't know how they're ever going to actually ban TikTok. I mean, I could see that they could do that on federal devices, platforms, cell phones, computer systems, computers. I get that. But I'm not sure how they're going to do that on a private device. And, you know, like a laptop, most of us look at it on our cell phones. Not sure how that's going to happen. A little Orwellian oversight here, I guess, huh? Anyway, just some food for thought today, guys. But just remember that really this is something that's going to speed up and become more and more complex and more integrated. So the Internet of Things is far, far more complex and embedded in our lives than we can ever imagine, right? I mean, there's, you know, our TVs can watch us while we're watching them. You know, this actually started happening long ago when cable TV was first introduced, you know, running a cable into your home. They were listening to us long ago, you know, in the 1970s, you know. And so somewhere, somehow, when we click that button that says I agree, when we sign up for apps and we sign up for all these things, probably has statements in there that say that we've just given them authorization to collect all that data. So almost everything that I've researched says that we've given them permission, and we probably have. And so, I mean, I'm just as guilty. I mean, I don't want to read 10 pages of the Privacy Act or or what they're collecting before I use an app. Sure, I get it. And if you use those free apps, it's free for a reason. It is definitely free for a reason, because they must get something out of it. I mean, nobody's going to spend a lot of money and time putting an app together and give it to you for free without some kind of purpose behind it, right? But there's been some interesting information about the fact that everything in our home now listens to us. Everything that's on the electrical grid, some of our washers, dryers, refrigerators, you name it, appliances, anything that's plugged into the grid nowadays can actually monitor what we're saying, what's going on, right? And so I don't know about you guys, but I certainly wouldn't put a television in my bedroom. I don't have one, and I don't ever want one there. I mean, there's other reasons why I don't, but that is one of them, because goodness gracious, if they can see within our home that easy, if that's really going on, I'm sure not going to give them any more advantage than they already have, right? I hope I didn't get a bunch of noise on that. Sorry about that. Hit the mic. Anyway, I think you guys get the point, right? We have to be mindful as much as we can. And remember that anything you put on the internet, anything, I don't care if you delete it at your end, it always exists. It will always be there. For example, I have a website for my business, and it's been on there for almost 7 years, I guess. Yeah. And every now and then when I Google my name of the business and me and all that, I'm finding stuff that I pulled off from my end years ago. And so it's very evident that they keep that. Somewhere it exists. And so you have to be mindful what you're saying. And so, once again, this is me talking. This is not proof of anything. This is not saying that this is the truth. I'm just basically reiterating what is being posted and just having a conversation about it. And so you guys get to do your own research, make up your own mind, and decide how you see this idea, this topic. But it is pretty intense, and I would say that we are going to be monitored closer and closer and closer than ever before. I mean, it's already kind of tight and intricate and complex and consistent, but I think it's going to become even more so. So anyway, I will digress. I will go ahead and close out this session, but do your research, guys, and go see what kind of data is being collected on you if you're interested. So let's finish out by saying happy Friday, fantastic Friday. Live your life. Be strong. Talk to you soon.